That was way more important, and I don't know who's got the job, and I don't really care, but I think that, as a person that lives in Union County, is way more important than somebody sitting there doing paperwork. And my other question is, where is it written that that person got that much money to start with? Where did it say that that job was gonna pay this much? Was that something made up, or was that written years ago?
Which one?
The HR person.
The HR person?
Where was that, where does it say that that person gets this much? That's why I said, I might have missed it, but that was one of my questions I wanted.
It's not a statutory position, so if you're asking for a law, there's not a law that makes it exist, no.
So what do you mean by statutory? I don't
Who created the
understand.
position?
Huh?
You're asking who created the position?
No.
Who set the salary?
Who set the salary? What I'm
Who set
asking.
the
The
salary?
board.
It's the same, it's the
The
same,
board.
it's
That's what I
all the
thought.
same entity. I thought you were asking about if there was a statutory position that the state set, no.
No,
This
I'm
board
asking,
created, this board
why
created the
that,
position.
why, where it got decided that it was going to pay 60 grand?
The board.
Of 30,000 and
Okay, why couldn't it have been lower? Could we not got somebody to do it lower? I bet we could.
You probably could have, but you probably wouldn't want the person working on your behalf if you did.
How do you know that? There's lots of people that are overqualified for jobs that get paid less. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. I'll stay there.
Okay.
Wow.
class as much.
One other thing is, I've thought about is, I know that, you know, you guys wanna talk about their workload that they do, and I get that, I'm not saying that they don't do their jobs or what they do, I don't know their jobs, I'm not in there. But you guys, we hear this continuously of how much they do, what they do, how they do it, and again, we have a 5-person board, none of you know what any of our offices do. And I think that is wrong, because you guys are commissioners and need to know how our county operates and runs. Again, I've invited all of you in. Max, you have stopped in one time, but no one has came in to observe. I've heard from several that they were gonna come. They never show up. They'll call. But as far as that, you guys wanna justify what they do. What do we do? You guys have no idea.
Exactly.
But we're the first ones cut. Keep them because you follow them all day long, or they help you assist your jobs. What about the ones that assist us with our jobs? And we're the ones cut, because you guys don't know what we do, but now, oh, we'll do a time study to see now if we need our people back. And then told it would be a huge mistake if we didn't allow the time study to be conducted by Ms. Knupp in the last meeting. And I think that that's wrong. If you guys can't justify what Terry and I do, then why do you want to cut us? You don't want to lose them, and you already said they're not going anywhere. Well, what about our people? We feel just as strongly of our employees as you do yours. And I still, again, I don't think you can justify it.
Last year I was a floor washer, and Anna too. In that period of time, we had people come in who were saying things that they weren't supposed to be saying. We had to call Terry. We had people, all of a sudden the machine broke down. We had to call Terry. Terry had to come out of his office and come work on that machine. Couldn't get the machine fixed. So he's making phone call after phone call. I mean, that's one poll. We have 20 different precincts here. So he's running around doing this, and now this year, with all the talk of voters and all the talk of how, you know, the election could be rigged, we're going to go into an election year with one less person. How do you expect him to be able to do that? Are you guys going to help him out in the office?
Sure.
Because that was incredible. What I saw, what he had to do, leave his office. People hadn't even registered. He was having to talk to people. He was having to talk to judges. He was having to tell people to stop making comments. It's incredible. And that's, like I said, that's one precinct. Well, actually, it was two, because it's Anna 1 and Anna 2. And that is a real big concern of mine when I watched that.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people in Union County live outside city limits. These roads out here, these county roads are terrible. And you took out of that budget and hired these people? I find that ridiculous.
No, we did not.
We actually put more money into the county highway system.
We gotta get something done with these roads, and I hope your efficiency, will finally manage to get some of that done.
We're working on it, I can assure you. As soon as the weather breaks, the highway superintendent was just here. I don't know if you had come in the room together.
Well, even when the weather in the summer,
We,
there's roads out there, one part is the blacktop on one end, and one part's blacktop on the other end, and then you got gravel in the middle, and
Amen.
they need to be fixed.
there's 500 miles of them, I can tell you exactly, in the county. And we're doing everything we can to maintain them. We're not cutting anybody or paying somebody else and taking away from the highway department. Any other comments?
Madam
Yes.
Clerk. My name's Kevin Starr. I would like to say thank you for letting me speak to you this morning. For one thing, sitting here listening to the conversation, I think it's very patronizing for you to talk about Kelly Carter and saving $200,000 when there's nobody else in the county. If Kelly Carter wasn't making the money he was, there's nobody else in the county that could have looked into that or has looked into it in the past. And more or less making the comment that he's the only person, and your position is the only person that done that. That's totally wrong. For you to laugh at another elected county official for their statement in a county board meeting is asinine. That shows no respect for another elected official. The HR person that is hired or going to be hired, from what I've been told, they're going to be over the administrators of each department. I would like to ask, what is the definition of the administrator in the office?
Well, I don't know, Kevin, when you say that the human resources over the administrator.
It's in the contract I've seen.
You mean as
Who
far
is-
as,
who is-
as far as the chain of command, or?
Yes, who is the administrator in Tiffany's office that she is going to be overseeing? Or they are going to be overseeing, because I don't know who it is that you're hiring.
Well, we've already hired Ms. Knupp.
Okay.
So, but,
Who is Ms. Knupp going to be overseeing? Who is the administrator in each office?
but the
Is that the
administrator,
elected official?
yeah,
You cannot hire somebody to oversee an elected official. You are by saying that, you are saying that you circumvented the election that was held. These people are over their offices. You people are over your office and over the county. You can't hire somebody to be over an elected official. For hiring, who done the HR work before Ms. Knupp was hired?
each office holder tried to do their own human resource.
Okay. All right, so what you've done is you've circumvented their responsibilities and hired somebody to run part of their office.
At a roundtable agreement with the office holders. The office holders told us that they would like to have somebody, they said they needed extra help in their office to help out with the human resource. So we asked them in a roundtable discussion, what if we hired one human resource to be over all the human resource of the county? And it was the office holders that encouraged us to do that.
Okay, I understand that answer. Did you also include that you were going to lay people off in their offices to hire that person?
At that time, no. At that time, we weren't aware of it.
So one outweighs the other, doesn't it, Mr. Hartline? If you don't give them all the information and you ask them what you want them to do, and you tell them, and they say that we could use somebody to help, but then later on you come and say, but we're gonna have to lay people off because the budget's bad.
Yeah, and at the time, we weren't aware of that.
So then, wouldn't you back up and have that roundtable discussion again with the people that were elected by the citizens of this town?
You think?
instead of going forward with something that you didn't have the information for in the first place?
Well, and at the same time, because of the audits that we had, we were deficient in our audits because,
You didn't bring that up when I asked the question,
on what?
on why you done the HR person and taken the ability away from the
Well,
officer.
and again, at the time, I for one wasn't aware that our finances at the end of the year would be where they were at.
But you're a county commissioner, you should be aware. Where's your treasurer today? I've heard for 2 years how great our treasurer is, and now we're in financial distress? Horse crap. That doesn't make sense. All this, that's just smoke and mirrors. You're not giving the citizens the information that they need until the end gate when you guys decide what you want to do. And it's, I mean no respect to this county board. I have a good friend sitting here in front of me right now. But you can't make decisions and then carry something out and then something else change without going back to those people and telling them, this is what's come up. You have to let them know all of the things that involve them, just the same as any business or anything else. You have to know, let them know what is going to affect those decisions. And in this case, if you had that round table that you're talking about, and they mentioned what they could use, you have to come back to them and say, if we do this, this is what happens because of it. And you are talking about a $60-some thousand a year position and laying off 4 people that make around $30,000 a year?
Combined.
And don't tell me, with especially a young lady that's been here for several years, that you have to pay somebody $60,000 a year as an HR person compared to someone that's been here and involved in this county government for 20 plus, 30 plus years, and you're not going to like what you get for less than $60,000.
So we should pay more.
Yes.
We should pay more for how long somebody's been in an organization, not their qualifications.
Well, if you want to go there, if they haven't done their job and they don't if they don't exceed what their expectations are, then there are ways, because there's a union contract for almost every person that works in this courthouse. If they don't do their job and they do things wrong, there are ways to penalize them. It's called a progressive discipline article, okay? If not, then evidently they are doing what they're supposed to. So yes, they should get paid for the time that they've been here. It's called longevity, okay? I know some people in your position don't agree with that, but that's okay.
I don't have a disagreement with you on that. My question was not about disciplinary measures. It was about qualifications for
It all goes
jobs.
together when you talk about.
But you're talking about a largely
Longevity.
clerical position versus one that's administrative, somebody who's had 20 years of experience and a bachelor's degree. It's completely different.
Did you check with any employee in the county whether they had a bachelor's degree or any education in the human resources area?
Yes.
And nobody that works for the county has had a bachelor's degree.
And definitely not as many years of experience as Ms. Knupp has.
So, but nobody has
That's
a
not true.
bachelor's.
No.
The interviews were opened up to the employees. We did have, I think, 3 employees that applied.
Brandy's still
None of
waiting on
them
her
with human
denial letter that
resource.
she never even got her interview. She thought maybe she'd still get a chance on the position. She's still waiting on her letter.
I had to hear from the janitor when he ordered Ms. Knupp's door.
So
Your
evidently,
denial letter was sent to the same email address that you applied from,
And I
which was
never did get
a
it.
personal email address. I will go in there, go to my sent items and re-forward it to you because you did receive it.
No, she did not.
well, and once again, this is not a forum, and I have not called anybody a liar since I've been standing here, and I haven't heard anybody else, but you just did.
I didn't
That's
say,
just-
did you
You
say
just
that
said,
word?
yes, you
Yes.
just said
She
that
said
she
she
did
didn't
receive
receive
it.
it,
She
so
said she
she's
did.
calling me
So
a
you're
liar.
calling her a liar.
No, I would never
Yes,
use
you
that
did.
term.
We need
No, I
to-
Yes,
didn't.
you did.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Guys, you know, I appreciate all your concerns and everything, but this is getting a little bit out of order. I'm glad everybody's here and expressing their opinions, that's what we want.
Yep.
But that's not what this county board meeting is about. That's not what the public comments are about.
Excuse me?
The public comments, Mr. Commissioner, are about what the public.
I understand that,
wants to know.
and we have listened to them, but we're saying the same thing over and over and over. We
Has
get it.
everybody asked the questions that I asked today? Mine's not over and over.
Do you have more?
I'm talking to Commissioner Miller.
Right.
Not necessarily, but it's all pertaining to the same situation.
Right.
In a roundabout way.
If the information hasn't been disseminated to the people, Mr. Commissioner, I ask that you do so. You cannot take an elected official's administration away from them by hiring somebody as an HR person.
I don't think we are, in answer to that, my personal opinion.
Mr. Hartman did. He just said that they're overseeing those people.
They're overseeing certain things in their office, okay? They're not taking away their authority.
But Commissioner Miller, that is the board's work.
Okay? And she works for the board,
She's not a commissioner.
but she follows our instructions.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I actually have a couple questions. The HR and the administrator are going to be getting over $13,000 combined in raises, and they've been here less than a year. Since instead of laying the people off in the other offices, why can't you give that money to those offices so you can keep the people that you already have? And also, they're supposed to be, they're supposed to be overseeing the offices, but they don't even know what the offices do. So how are they gonna oversee them?
Again, it's a process in progress. We've never had that before. We are working those details out as we go with each office as far as seeing what is going on, what isn't going on, time-wise, workload. That's part of her duties. We've never had that before.
Okay,
That's
but,
what we're initiating.
so they're basically getting a bonus and they've been here less than a year and you're trying to lay people off that have been here for years and they need them in their offices.
That was our decision, that's all I can tell you. We're not reversing it.
That's
so
unfair to the people
I
that's
appreciate that.
dedicated
I appreciate your comments.
their help to the citizens and doing their jobs every day.
I understand, I appreciate your comments.
And I will say, I'll answer to that, you know, they don't oversee the office holders, they just are looking into an aspect of their jobs for, when it tells, like for the employees of that, they're not overseeing, they're not their supervisor, so they don't oversee, they're just, like for the human resource, she's looking into the human resource aspect of the employees of the county. So it's not like where I come from, there was, you know, a chain of command. It's not the chain of command where the office holders answers to these people.
Well, since you're answering my question that I asked, and you're adding to what your answer was, because you answered it differently the first time. Have you read, because I asked, who is the administrators in the offices that they are overseeing? And you said that it was the office holders.
Correct.
Okay, then they are supervisory in a way. And another thing, you come from a different line of work than the county courthouse, totally different. You know, the key with me is accountability, and I think that these people, as well as you, were elected by the citizens. When you put a buffer between that person that was elected and yourself that was elected, for one thing, I don't believe that the county board can put somebody in a supervisory position over another elected official. I just don't believe that that's legal, and I think that's going to be looked into. That is downgrading to the public official that was elected by the citizens. Your job as county commissioner, before we started the human resources or any of the other stuff, was to take care of the problems and do the things that they're supposedly doing. So is the county board at some time going to decrease the funding that you all, or the wages that you all get for being county board members, since you have hired people to do part of the work that you're responsible for?
Amen.
Decrease our wages?
Yes. No, I don't even know what it is, but,
It's $8,000 a year.
okay.
I've been at this courthouse the last 3 months, probably
And
50 hours a month.
I'm not
So don't tell me that my wages need to be
I didn't
decreased.
tell you that you were too high. I asked if you're hiring people.
Well, we're not decreasing our wages, put it that way.
That was my question.
Yeah.
I want to work 70 hours for $13.80
The,
an hour.
And I guess that it's a difference of,
And I appreciate you as a friend laughing in my face.
I'm not laughing in your face, I'm just,
I think what
I'm
Kevin,
telling you, everybody's a little too touchy this morning. I'm not laughing at you or anything, I'm just, the whole situation.
What happens when you got layoffs?
And I agree, but when you're
I
laying-
understand that, but
You're laying
don't
people
accuse
off.
me of laughing at somebody.
you were.
Of course.
How do you know I wasn't laughing at me?
Commissioner
This is
Miller.
out of, come on, come on, guys, this is out of hand.
I'm talking about laying 4 people off, or what have you.
Do
and
you
then
think
hiring-
I want to lay anybody off?
No, we've
Okay.
had that conversation, but if you're
Okay.
talking about laying people off that make $30,000 a year and hiring another person that makes $60,000. You've
That-
got to understand where we're coming
I
from, that those
understand
people
where you're
have
coming
families to
from.
take
I
care of.
understand where you're coming from,
That's
totally.
where we have heartfelt feelings about this issue.
I understand that.
And
I
I'm not here as a
appreciate that.
union rep because I'm not one.
I appreciate that. We've made that decision, it's not gonna change. We can have this conversation twice a month from now till November, and then maybe somebody else will be here. I don't know.
We'll get back. We'll get back.
All right, let's move on. Homer?
Teresa's up.
Just from the discussion I've heard here, a question, does the county have an organizational chart that clearly delineates responsibilities directly and indirectly within all offices of the county?
I honestly can't tell you if we physically have one. I can't answer
It's a
that.
good
I can
idea.
only say
I
that
don't think we probably do, that's probably something that we should do.
Good.
in 35 years of my work, we always had that organization structure so that there was no question of who had direct control, who had input, how they worked together. That way, it eliminates
Right.
a lot of the confusion that
I
I've heard
understand.
being discussed here.
I understand.
I agree with that.
I'm not going away when I talk, so.
That's fine.
My understanding of elections are you vote the commissioners in, they do the work for your county. We've had 3, we went to 5 because it was needed. Then we have to have human resource, human service workers, an IT person. We just keep going on. And I know you don't want to hear it, but I don't know how you lay your head on your pillow at night with a conscience, knowing that they are getting a total of $13,000 in 2 years raises when we have our county sheriff, we have Grant for our ambulance, we have Crystal 911, we have our deputies here, we have our dispatchers here, and those are the people that don't make diddly squat. They don't get those kind of raises, they don't get those kind of benefits, and they are the ones that I want protecting my life. When I
Amen.
call here, I don't want to speak to someone, well, you know, I'm the head of this department. And also, I want to read part of this contract. If I can get it to come back up. And this was received through a FOIA request. This is an Angie Cokes, and it's no offense to you, Angie, it's just the way things were done. And people in the county need to start knowing, and they need to start getting upset, and I am thrilled to see everyone here today. It's in her contract. It says supervision of all county departments under the supervision of the Board of Commissioners, including supervision and discipline of the departmental administrators, and perform all other duties and tasks as directed by the County Commissioners. I remember reading Kelly Carter's contract when it was written up that he was over all these people. So why do we have to go to the point to elect these county officials that we trust to run these departments, and then you hire these people to be over them, give them a humongous raise? These poor guys here are working for practically nothing, and I know you can probably go to Jackson County and make more, and thank you for not, because we are fortunate to have the 911.
I just want to make one quick comment. I understand your name is Mr. Miller, and I didn't hear what your name was, but I understand where you're coming from. So, no matter what the people have said, no matter how the voters vote or anything else, like you said, that's the way it is and that's the way it stands. Am I right with that?
Well, basically, that's what I said. We have made a decision as a board to do what we did. And we stand by that decision. We have our reasons for doing it. And I guess what I'm saying is, I appreciate your thoughts, concerns. Believe me, I'm glad to see everybody here. But after this discussion,
Nothing changes.
we're not going back and, per se, fire her or fire her. That's not gonna happen. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not gonna change. And I don't mean that
People are going to be
rude
laid
way.
off. And she's going to be in dire need of help in her office. But we're going to give raises and et cetera to the people that you folks that think are so qualified that no one else was qualified to do that position.
If that's what you think.
But, okay, that's what I needed to know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh,
Hi.
amen.
My name is Emily, and I'm an employee here. And I have a question regarding the board meetings and the videos that are posted online. Mr. Feller, I was able to watch the videos from the last board meeting, and you had stated at the previous meeting that it disappoints you that more people do not show up to the county board meetings. I've been an employee here for going on 8 years, and I've only been, this is only my second time here. The reason being is because they're held during the day. I was wondering, how many times were you able to attend meetings prior to becoming a commissioner?
Not very many, and that's why I'm so excited to see everybody here today, because this is more what we need. Now, you're right, that we should consider a time change of the meeting schedule. Is that what you're getting at?
Yes, I
I
would
agree
like
with you.
to
I
ask
agree
the
with
board to take into consideration at least once every 2 months, due to the fact that people are working. I mean, yes, I am an employee here, but I'm also a taxpayer in this community. I've lived here in Union County, well, my family moved in 1976. And, you know, so I feel like I have a vested interest in this community. And I think that the general public, those that are hardworking and sincere and want the best for this county, these communities are full of beautiful and wonderful people who only want the best for their families, only want the best for their environment, and they are unable to come and express an opinion or to hear how the board expresses themselves because they are working and they have heavy, busy schedules. If there was a way that the board could have something in the evenings, even though they won't always be able to attend due to family obligations and maybe a split work schedule, I think that you may have more of a general input, more faces coming to listen, to learn, and then to also express their opinions as well. So I'd like the board to consider a schedule change in the future. The other thing is in regards to the videos that are posted, I am amazed to find that when I talk to people out in the community, making them aware that these are videoed and that they are, you know, open for the public to see, the only accessible way to look at these videos is either going to Facebook, at least to my knowledge, Facebook, County of Union, Illinois, and then they're linked on that, or you can go to youtube.com, look up Raleigh Hawk's personal account. They're not linked to the county in any way. There have been several people that are just amazed or appalled, either way, that they do not have access on the unioncountyil.gov website, linking these meetings for them to see, for them to listen to, and for them to become informed. I would like for the board to look into creating something on the Union County website that will give a direct link to the working public so that they, in the comfort of their own homes, can
I agree,
do
we're
these things.
working on that. This is our first attempt. I mean, until we decided to do this, it wasn't even available, period.
Right.
And we wanted it out there for transparency reasons and where everybody could see it.
Those are both great ideas.
I mean, and we're gonna get there, I promise you. That's our intent, so.
Thank you.
With an HR person, if I understand it, the definition is human resource. Is there that big an issue that we need a full-time person here? Could we not pay him, have a part-time person paying 30 grand, put the 30 grand somewhere else, distribute it?
Yes,
That's the question.
Do you think that?
We do need a full-time person.
There's that much of an issue
Yes,
in this
yes,
courthouse that we
yes.
need a full-time referee.
It can't be renegotiated, of course not.
What is the turnover?
What is what?
What is, if you need a full-time human resource, I imagine you have other duties in this position, but it doesn't seem to me like there's a big turnover of people that have these jobs for 30 years. So if you have like a big turnover where you need to hire people a lot, then I agree with Teresa.
That's not her, you need to look up the definition of a human resource person and see all the classifications under that, what all they do. It's not just hiring people. Yeah, and yeah, she does payroll. She does a lot of things, and a lot of things that have not ever been done here that need to be to get us in compliance with a lot of issues.
But couldn't it be divvied to other places that are already, people already here?
When they were, we were paying dental insurance to people who didn't work here anymore.
Dental insurance is having.
I just don't understand this.
A benefit doesn't have to do with,
He said payroll, he didn't say benefits.
no, I wasn't saying payroll, I was giving another example of why a human resources person is necessary, because we were paying benefits to people who didn't work here anymore. That was an oversight that was happening.
And our audits also had, I don't want to quote a number, I mean, there are numerous findings, all payroll related, where we weren't tracking paid time off within our payroll system, and we, you know, weren't tracking different items, and I mean, you can see our audits, there's almost every finding is related to payroll transaction. So that's something we are working on them to check them off one by one to fix these findings that have been on there for years.
Well, it seems like you're gonna save a lot of money by paying somebody $60,000 to do a wonderful job, that you shouldn't have to hire people, lay people off. I mean, in our economy, nobody here wants to see anybody lose their job.
Anything else?
I have a question.
Yes.
Does the county board consider me as the 911 director or department head?
And what does the 911 board consider?
A department head.
I
I've
guess
worked.
the reason for the confusion isn't that what we consider, I would consider you one. Now, whether or not there is a contract or a piece of paper that says that, I don't actually know the answer. I would like to see there be one, as we talked about last time.
Well, I assure you the 911 board does think of me as a department head.
I think they probably will be taking care of that.
No, this isn't about my contract. I have been the 911 director for 10 months now and have yet to be added to the department head email address, group. It's my understanding there's a sexual harassment training on Monday that I was never made aware of. The Christmas party in December that I was never made aware of. So what do I need to do to get added to that group if I am a department head as the director to make sure that I'm informed on all of these trainings and meetings?
Well, maybe they'll do it now.
Maybe that HR director will get right on that.
We can add that, add Crystal to the department head. She wasn't on there because not all emails that go out to our department heads relate to 911, like if they're about the AP process.
But Jana was on the department head group as the 911 director.
I don't know how far back that goes, but, I mean, it's something we can do, we just have to, I guess, when it goes out to the department heads, I just ask that when you read them, if you know, okay, this doesn't apply to 911, then you can just.
I think I'm competent enough to figure that out.
And I didn't say you weren't, so, yeah, but.
That could be, that's
an easy fix.
But this has been brought up multiple times and nothing changes.
Oh,
It's not
she's
been
too
brought up to
busy.
me.
She's very.
No, this is the first time I brought it up to the board because it wasn't getting taken care of outside of the board meeting.
But we'll fix it.
Well, she's, yeah,
We'll fix it.
she's way too busy.
Danny, I have one question towards you, if you could answer. I know that there's been a lot of contradicting statements, and Mr. Starr had first brought it up, but in her, Ms. Koch's contract or her agreement, the exact wording states, administrator oversees personnel and discipline, and it also states, including supervision and discipline of the departmental administrators. If I'm not mistaken, you had just said there's no supervision, so there's a lot of contradicting, so I need you to explain.
And when that was read, yeah, that, my ears perked up because it should say in conjunction with.
Okay, so did you guys not get copies? Because when they were file stamped in Terry's office in February, the original dates on some of them were December 1st. Tyler also reviewed them, you guys had copies, so, I mean, you guys signed them, you approved these, so that's where I think Mr. Starr's reading into that.
And that actually, by the wording, by the way that's worded, I will say to Mr. Starr that then I had an interpretation, he was reading it, and when I read that, it was probably
So how do you think that
oversight.
makes us feel?
Oh, and I get that, Tiffany, I get that.
I mean,
But-
you could have